Hi, everyone. Welcome to Migrant Voices. My name is Dorothy, and I'm your host. Today, we are going to have a very interesting discussion that looks at the intersection between higher education and finding opportunity after school. And my guest today is a Ghanaian who left Ghana in search of not just higher education, but also being able to break the job market. And so stick and stay with us as we dive into the discussion. So thank you for joining us today.
It's my pleasure to be here.
Yes, so we are going to dive into why you chose to come to Denmark and how it has been first as a student and now as somebody who is within the job market. So my very, very first question will be, why Denmark? I mean, so just if you can start telling us about your journey, what's motivated you to actually leave Ghana to come here?
Okay, so that's a good question. Why Denmark? I don't have any family in Denmark. So I'll be my first generation to move to Denmark.
Should I say congrats?
I don't know if it's something to be congratulated for, but yeah. So I have family in the US, the UK. So the options were always US, UK, Canada to study. The motivation for me to leave Ghana to study was I was not feeling fulfilled. Like I have a certain goal to reach, which I didn't see possible in Ghana. So I'm a pharmacist. I went to pharmacy school. I worked in a pharmacy with NS Chemist, big pharmacy. I was doing good in my career, but I had another step I wanted to reach. And that wasn't possible for me because I wanted to go into research, I wanted to go into drug manufacturing. And in Ghana, it's very limited to tableting. So we do a lot of paracetamol and we do very simple OTCs in Ghana. That's over-the-counter medication. So we don't have sophisticated research doing in Ghana, right? And so I was looking into going to a master's degree. And what were my options? I looked at the UK, I looked at the US, and then I saw a course in Copenhagen, which looked very interesting to me. So University of Copenhagen, Master of Pharmaceutical Sciences. It was very flexible. It had different tracks, and it piqued my interest. So I sent an application to that one, and I got in. So I basically came to Denmark because I got into University of Copenhagen, not because of Denmark, but because of the university.
Okay, so you didn't have. I mean, you had other places that you were looking at, but so the course was very interesting for you.
Yes.
What about the other schools that you were considering?
So I considered also Nottingham University in the UK. I considered a few US universities. The main thing was funding. So in the UK, it was really expensive. And it was just a 1-year course. And usually 1-year courses are, it's just done like that. And now you have to find your way
around.
So I just prefer to.
I mean, the school, the fees is expensive. So
it was for the 1-year course. It was everything combined for the University of Copenhagen course. So I had to find funding for the UK one, right? Even for the Copenhagen one, I had to find funding. But main deterrent for the UK was it was too short and it was too expensive. And the US was not really an option for me. I didn't want to move to the US. I didn't think I was ready to move to the US.
Yeah, but so prior to that, you didn't really have any interest. You didn't think about Denmark. Denmark was not even on your radar.
No, Denmark. I knew Denmark for football. I knew Denmark for a few things. I didn't think I was going to move to Denmark.
Okay. Well,
if you asked me 5 months before, Denmark was not on my radar.
Okay. So before we delve into your studies and all of that, I'm sure somebody is watching and is wondering, I also want to go to Denmark or go to Scandinavia or Europe. What would be the first thing that you would tell somebody like that to consider before even deciding to move to come and study?
First thing, don't be like me. So find out where you're going to before you do it. I wish someone told me, know where you are going to. So I looked up Denmark. I looked people's life is good.
Not to cut you, but know where you're going to. What do you mean by that?
Find out, so where I'm moving to, is it a good fit for me? Is that where I want to live? Do I see myself living there for 2 years, 6 months, 1 year, 5 years, 10 years? What am I actually getting myself into? What's the weather like? How do I have to show up before I move in? If I come in,
Do I need to come with my shito and all that?
Yeah, exactly. Let's come my own food. What kind of food am I going to eat there? That's something I didn't do.
No.
So I looked into Denmark and I knew Novo Nordisk. So I knew there was a company, a big company that I could at least try to whatever,
Get
right?
into, yeah.
So all my research was, so if I look at UK, I knew, okay, so if I finish school, where do I go to? Oh, GSK. Maybe the other big companies there. If I go to the US, what do I do? Oh, there's Pfizer, there's Johnson & Johnson. Like, I always try to look like 2 years ahead of my studies. So it's always looking at, so what's the job opportunity after school?
So for you were looking at only the job opportunity, not the other social aspect of it.
So I was very limited in my thinking. So I was very practical. So I go to school, find a job. So I finish school, where do I work? So if I go to Sweden, AstraZeneca. If I go here, I work here. That was my thinking.
But that's not bad in itself.
No, that's not bad in itself. But like the 2 years in between, what are you doing there? So the whole schooling time. So yeah, I should have. The advice I'll give to anyone is just know where you're going to. It sounds nice. Maybe you reach out to someone and say, I live in Denmark. And then it sounds like, oh, I want to live there too. But what's accommodation like? How much money do I have to budget for rent?
How are the people like?
Like, what do I eat? How do I make friends?
Have you developed the taste for the Danish food yet?
No. I can eat some potatoes. I can eat some pork.
Okay.
But if you give me a rye bread or licorice, I'm still getting there.
No. Yeah. So one advice is to research, don't just be focused on, okay, after school, what am I going to get to do, but rather in between, how do I survive within those years? And that's a very interesting and good advice actually. So, well, I was going to ask you about what influenced your final decision, but for now, I know that it was because you got the course and you felt like, okay, yeah. And so let's look at, you already had an education in Ghana and then you came to Denmark. What are the differences in terms of the education? No, I have also been an international student here, so I know that there is a vast difference. So in terms of teaching, how we study, how even the exam, what were some of the differences and how did you navigate it?
Yeah, so I have an interesting story to this one. So my first class in pharmacy school was chemistry, organic chemistry. And then we had a teacher called Dr. Okain.
In here?
No,
in Ghana. In Ghana. Okay.
So first class, he walked in, he drew a structure on the board. And he asked the whole class, what's the structure? So he went from everybody, he asked 1, 2, 3, 4, 50 people in class. Nobody could give the answer. And he said it's a morphine structure. And that was my first class. My first interaction was a structure on the board. When I moved to Denmark, my first class, I don't know if it was my first class, but like everything was more interactive. So when they said something, it wasn't something that was drawn on the board. It was a full structure. It was 3D printing. It was things I could feel. It was, oh, this is a protein structure. This is this is that. It was more practical to me, right? And I would say our education system in Ghana is so different because we don't have, how do I even put this nicely?
The resources.
The resources, basically. Yeah. So it's, everything I learned was in the book. So I read a lot of big textbooks like Rang and Dale Pharmacology, huge pharmacology, one of them. Huge book. I had to go through it. We learned a lot of things. Like we learned about herbal plants. It was all in books. Even though we had herbal plants that we could go see, all of it was in books.
You didn't have those practical elements to it.
Yeah, like I think in Ghana it's less practical. I think we should we are moving towards being more practical, like showing people this is what it is. Like if I tell you this, I can show you this as well. So if I tell you this is a morphine structure, I can show you
how it looks like. Yeah.
Instead of drawing the 2D on the board, I can show you like there's something we do in pharmacy schools now where you have like so it's like a structure that is built out of like sticks. So you can actually picture it. So that was the difference. It's more practical here. I could see things. I could relate to more things. I could relate to my lecturers more friendly. So no one was trying to fail me, basically. Like,
so you also say it off camera, otherwise you're in trouble.
Yeah.
Yes,
honestly,
okay.
Sometimes there's some lecturers in Ghana that I feel like they wanted to fail people.
Over here, I mean, from my own experience, when your lecturer is quite friendly.
Yes.
It's different.
Yes.
I mean, and I'm sure maybe you've also experienced being calling your lecturer by their first names.
Yeah.
Or did you experience that? How did you even navigate that?
Yeah, that was a culture shock. Like my lecturer told me not to call him by professor. He told me to call him Thomas. And I looked him up when he said that, and I saw all his qualifications, and he just asked me to call him Thomas. I was like, yeah. He invited me to a beer after class, like, hey, you can have a beer together, we can talk. Like those kind of levels of interactions, those you don't get with Ghanaian lecturers.
Yeah, but and does that kind of have? I mean, I know it's a social aspect, but does that have kind of an influence on how you even approach your studies? Did it have? Well, now you're not a student anymore, so but did it have any influence? Did it make the learning more open, more?
It made it easier to ask your lecturer questions. So you didn't feel dumb asking Thomas. Like if you came to Thomas after a class and said, "Hey, I didn't really understand this part," he didn't make you feel like you didn't study or didn't listen. So that was a good part. You could approach and ask questions.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
And in terms of the exams and how even the readings and all, I mean, you talked about having big. In my own experience, I mean, there was a big library. I could get any texts. I don't know if it was the same for you. I found it. I was so excited just to see that. Oh, this text I could just order it and then it will come to my house. I was. I don't know if that was also your experience.
Your experience here, right?
Yes.
Yeah, you could just order a book online and it would come to you. But later on, you have to go to Baum Library.
Yeah.
Go to a big library, go through a lot of text and a lot of books to find the book you're looking for. And the edition might be a little older, and the teacher might ask you to use a newer edition.
Yeah.
There's a limit to resources that we had back in Ghana. That everything was at your fingertips once you came out here.
Okay, so then we move on to. I mean, you talked about the fact that the reason why you didn't go to the UK was because it was expensive. So were there resources that were available to you here? I mean, that you were able to tap into, maybe grants, other resources or networks that helped you in terms of being able to support your education financially?
So when I came in here, I had to fund my first semester. And then there were grants in the university that I could apply to. So you apply to a grant, and then based on your grades, basically
your performance,
and they decide to give you a grant. So I was able to use those grants to fund my second year.
Okay.
So my first year had to be paid, which was not easy. But
tell me about that.
One of the decisions of me coming here was also there was the option, or there was the opportunity to get grants in the second year. So when I reached out to the university first time, I asked them, "Hey, is there any funding?" Because Danida doesn't fund anymore. They told me, "Yeah, there are grants available in school on the university in the pharmaceutical space that you can apply to." So that was something I looked into. So I came in, applied to those, and then I was able to get those.
So there were resources that were able to direct you to where exactly you could.
Yes.
Yeah, because that's also very important. I mean, I think we're having an earlier discussion talking about the fact that people just want to travel. I want to go to school.
Yeah.
And I think that's one thing that you should also look at. How am I going to be able to continue it and further it to the end? Because otherwise you'll be stuck in the middle.
Yeah.
And when you're a student, I don't know what your own experience, but in Denmark, you don't get to work full time. And so then if you're able to pay your fees, then that becomes an issue. I don't know because you got the funding, so you didn't have that kind of issue.
You're not able to work full time. And even if you work, how much time can you work to be able to make that kind of money, right? So yeah, if you can't pay your fees, you're basically going to be back home, without finishing your education.
So now let's go into the social aspects of your being here, because in the beginning you talked about it. So what was the hardest bit of being an international student in Denmark?
The hardest bit for me was not the education part, because the academics part was fine.
You get brains, so
yeah. In Ghana, it was harder to be a student. Like you had to study really hard.
You have to chew.
You have to chew. So the academics part I'd already had that culture built into me, so I could study. The hardest part was the social part. So I remember walking to orientation, and I looked up and I saw one black guy with glasses on, one black girl from the UK with a very nice accent, and all whites.
And that was it.
That was it. And that was about 150 people. So I walked there, I was like, what am I doing here, right? So the social part is hard. And Ghanaians are very nice, warm, friendly. And then you move to the opposite where you come to a country where it's really cold.
And it's cold.
And the people are cold, yeah. So making friends, you have school friends, you have friends, you have acquaintances. So you think someone is your friend, but it's just your school friend. So it's your friend in school. And then you think, oh, I hit you up, like, hey, can we hang out? Or can I come see you? No, I don't have time to like 2 months afterwards. So you think you're friends, but you're not really his friend. But in Ghana, it's like, once we're friends in school, we're friends. Like I can just show up.
Yeah.
So those are the differences. So I had to really get used to the difference in the levels of friendship. So socially, it took me some time. It took me 3 or 4 months to get used to the fact that I need to put in more work to get friends. So I made some friends in school, which we are still friends up to this day, including Eugene and all those people, right? But you had to put the extra work to make more friends. So with the Danes themselves, I don't think I have too many Danish friends. But I was able to make a lot of international friends because our course was more international. We had more international people in class. It was just like 4 days, about 50 of us were internationals. So making friends internationals was, I found a community in that was able to like get me going.
So for you, the difficult aspect about being an international student was the social aspect, being able to make friends.
Yes.
So was there, I mean, because I'm asking this because I know you're Ghanaian.
Yeah.
Was there any structure in place within the Ghanaian community that supported you? Maybe somebody's also intending to come to Denmark. Maybe you could point that person in that direction. I'll
admit, one thing I didn't do very well was integrating into the Ghanaian community. So that's advice I'll give to someone to make.
Was there a reason for that?
I don't think that was it. So maybe it was my experiences. So my first experience with Ghanaians was not that great.
Okay. So, well, fair enough. Yeah,
so I had very personal experiences where I felt like I reached out to a Ghanaian person and I didn't get the same love back. So it kind of pushed me away from integrating to Ghanaian communities. Because there are Ghanaian communities here, you go into churches, you can make communities, you can meet people in Ghanaian parties and all those things. But I kind of took myself out of it because my experience with the Ghanaians wasn't really great. And that was my experience. I wouldn't say it's the same experience for everybody.
Yeah, I've had fantastic experience with Ghanaians here.
So my first interaction with like Ghanaians someone that actually helped me was the Ghanaians. So I had a Ghanaian friend first time who really helped me to integrate, told me what to do, where to hang out, like where to meet people, what to do, like be more focused on this, be less focused on this kind of people. Like he showed me the ropes of how to live in Denmark. I should have done that earlier, like finding out, because a Ghanaian is the one who would have known better how to show me the way. But maybe I didn't have the best experience the first time.
So anybody who is coming as a student should at least look for that kind of, would you call it mentorship or direction or something of the sort?
Yeah, find a community and find someone who actually gives you good advice. Because the first few advice I got didn't really help me.
I don't ask what those advices were.
Yeah, you don't want to know. So the first few I got didn't really help me. But I found some really good Ghanaian communities, Ghanaian friends who showed me the way to go, and it really helped me to grow up in this country.
That's good.
And then maybe the previous question, I forgot to say something about how fitting in as an international to us. So I was here during the COVID time as well. Yeah. That's the time no one wants to remember.
No.
But as an international living alone, you felt it. And then as an international that's non-EU, you felt it even more.
Yeah.
Because you couldn't work, you couldn't do anything unless we're getting stipends.
No, you're not going to get
you wouldn't get. Yeah. So that was a hard time. So socially, I think that time made me feel like a migrant. Yeah. Like I really felt like I'd come into someone else's country because no one was taking care of you.
No.
You had to take care of yourself, and there was no way to take care of yourself because you couldn't work.
Yeah.
Or you couldn't go to school,
there was a lockdown.
There was a whole time you were alone. Yeah. So that was a tough time.
No.
Yeah. But if you're able to go through that, it built you.
So it has built you.
It has built
the resilience.
Yeah. It has built you up resilience.
Yeah. Wow. That's quite sad.
It was sad.
Yeah. But so let's talk about language. I don't know if you have learned the Danish language, but in adjusting to a climate like this, what role does language play? especially in relation. I mean, we'll talk about your how getting into the job market, but what will the language play in terms of adjusting and being able to integrate into the system? Did it play any role? Yes, no.
Honestly, I haven't learned language, so
You need to learn the language.
Yes, I know. I've been taking classes for the past year.
Okay, that's good.
So one thing I know that the language helps with, as soon as you are able to say something in Danish, you make them feel more comfortable with you. So it brings a lot of guards down. So when you talk to a Danish, you even try to show the slightest bit of integration. They are very shielded. So naturally, we are very shielded people. When I see someone speaking Chi on the train, naturally my guards go down. Yeah, I talk to the person but if someone approaches me and the person speaking foreign language, I'm like, don't talk to me, I don't know you. Exactly. So that's how the Danes are. So that's how any foreign country is. So if you go to a foreign country, if you talk to a French person, you speak French, their guards go down. So it helps to integrate. I was able to survive without Danish for a long time because my course was in English. I could speak English in the supermarkets. I could speak English everywhere I went to. So I got really comfortable. And I realized when you speak Danish, it helps. It takes you places.
Yeah.
So if anybody's moving here, I would advise you take Danish earlier than I did. Because I've been here for 5 years and I speak some. So
right from the get-go, if you can, you take the language. I mean, in my own experience, I realized that learning the language helped to a very large extent, because when you call the commune or you call it, at least you start the conversation and tell them that please slow down, I'm now learning the language. So for any international students here, I know it's not easy because you need to work as well and go to school and all of them. And if you come with family, it's also another ball game altogether. But the language is important. You already touched a bit on it about mental health when you talked about COVID, but were there moments, aside the COVID issue, were there moments where you felt so lonely, you had self-doubt or like this cultural confusion or something of the sort? Were there moments like that?
Yeah. Yes.
And then how did you manage those moments?
Yeah. So I would say my first couple of months were hard. First couple of months were tough. 7 years ago, I was a younger guy. I was just coming from being like university, being really good at my job, moving to a different country. I thought I'll find a job because I'm so good. So I'll find a job and I'll be able to take care of myself. 2 weeks, 3 weeks, those rejections keep coming in. Just keep playing in your mind, right? 1 month, 2 months, and now you start doubting yourself. Am I as good as I thought I was? So it hit me about a month or two in that maybe you're not as good as I thought you were. That was the lie I was telling myself. So I tried to adjust that with my academics. I tried to be really good at my academics. So I was getting 12s, 10s, like getting really high grades in my academics, just so I could tell myself I am really good. And there was one exam where I think I kind of messed up. So instead of getting a 12 or something, I beat myself. I got like a 10 or a 7, but it's not a bad grade. But I beat myself up so bad that it affected my mental. So I picked up my phone, I checked flight tickets, and I saw a really cheap ticket to Ghana. Like really cheap in January. It was crazy. Like I got to like £200 or something. So it was the middle of January, nobody was traveling. So I just booked a trip to Ghana, went home for 2 weeks, came back again. And that really helped me to reset, because it was like my first 3-4 months here. I can't even say it was the toughest time of my life because COVID was a different level. So if you discount COVID, that was like one of the toughest, because I was integrating, I was trying to get in, I was trying to get a job, I was trying to make some money. Everything I was planning to was not falling in place, because I always find myself making very definite plans, which is something which is good. But as soon as one doesn't work out, you start to doubt the rest of the plans, right? Yeah. So that was challenging.
And during those times, in terms of your academic institution, did you contact them for help? I mean, in terms of, because I know there are structures there that should be able to, not necessarily financially, but in terms of the support they give for you mentally. I had this great environment in my lecturers who were able to direct me. Did you get any direction for that? I'm asking because sometimes some students don't even know that.
Yeah, I don't even know.
You didn't?
Even now, I don't know that stuff like that. So it's actually new to me. If I knew, I would have used that.
Yeah, because because I had a child just when I started school, I was pointed that speak to these people and they'll be able to direct you to some resources. I mean, I think even in the commune, there are those resources that you could tap into.
Yeah, what I was using was resources that would like help me to find a job. So you'll take it to job centers and then you're going to talk to people, and then still it's like you're not finding it now. You're getting more depressing.
Yeah, so now let's go into the job market. So, I mean, you already talked about for you, your mindset was, I'm going to get a job.
Yes.
And what did you do in addition to that? Because it's different to have a mindset that I'm going to get a job.
Yeah.
What did you do? What are the practical things that you did to make sure that because you work with one of the biggest pharmacists, I've been applying to that. If you're looking at me, please employ me. But what was the thing that you had to do in addition to the mindset to be able to get into that space?
So one thing I did that really helped me was I entered a mentorship program. So there was a mentorship program in the university where they try to pair you with someone who works in a big pharma company.
Okay.
So they paired me with someone who was working with like a startup. So as soon as I was like, this guy works in a startup. I don't want to work with a startup. I want someone who works like a big company. I was like, let me just give this a try. So we're paired for 6 months. And
that's long.
Yeah. And Hamza, if he's watching this, like I thank him so much. He was very hard on me.
You need to find Hamza and
So Hamza took my CV, went through it, and he gave me like really harsh feedback. It was so harsh, it touched my soul. Like it's like, am I even serious? Because he gave me really, really harsh feedback and told me like, change this, do this. And then we kept meeting every week. Just kept giving me how to make an elevator pitch, how to be confident in the way you speak. Like we went through a lot of step-by-step programs. He asked me which companies I wanted to work for. I put in applications. And then I got an internship. So when I got that internship, it really helped me because having that internship got me to the Danish labor market, right? So it taught me how the Danes work, how the big companies work like. And then having that on my CV helped me like after to able to, because you have it on your CV now. So when someone sees your CV, it's easier to like, hey, I think it's worked there before. Let's just give him a call. So that mentorship program was the best thing for me. That's something I would advise anybody coming in. Don't feel too big. Don't think you know it all. Like having a mentor is always the best thing. Finding the best mentor or a good mentor is the best thing that could happen to you.
And I think you talked about being open to his comments. It's also important that, I mean, you can have the mentors, but if you don't really care about what the person is saying, then it will. So aside the mindset, you also need mentorship, and you should be open to all the criticisms that come with
criticisms,
it.
Yes.
And what other thing did you do apart from these? Were there any other things?
So finding a mentor helped me to shape my thinking basically. I was approaching things the way I would approach things, the way I know how to approach things. So I was doing things the way I know how to.
Yeah.
And then having someone to tell you like, maybe you should look at it from a different approach. So practically I was able to change a few things here and there. So the way I would talk, the way I would call someone, I would actually approach someone. I would actually walk up to someone and say, hey, I think I want to work with your company. What's up?
I think I need to come for tutorials from you.
Yeah, exactly. It got me more confident in myself. So instead of being passive and wait for things to come to you, I was more active. And then being more active made me more confident in myself because I'd kind of lost my confidence in that first 3-4 months. And then someone to pick me up. So just the fact that I was able to recognize that there was a problem that had to be fixed. That's the first step. If you don't recognize the problem, you're not.
I mean, if there's no problem, what are you going to fix anyway?
Exactly. If actions, I would say my first action was to recognize that here are the problem. I don't think my CV is good enough to get into the labor market. I don't think my approach is the best approach to a different culture, basically. So there's a problem that has to be fixed. So what do you do? It's a mentorship program, get into it. So that was the start of the solution to my problem.
Yeah. I mean, I would ask our last few questions, but then
Yeah.
I wanted to find out, are there any, since I mean, there's been 5 years in Denmark and all that, but are there any unwritten rules when it comes to getting into the labor market? And that's something that people don't really pay attention to, that they need to, because most of us international students that come here, we're looking at, okay, right after school, I need to get a job, but we don't, you were fortunate enough to have somebody to guide you, but to somebody who doesn't have anybody, what would be the unwritten rule or things that they should be aware of when they are going into this phase of their life searching for a job?
Yeah, to me, I wish someone taught me early that I needed to network. If someone told me that, hey, I think networking is more important than having a nice CV, I would have said like, yeah, go away, you're a liar. But just get into the right rooms, talking to the right people, being open to just being let down, reaching out to people on LinkedIn. There was someone I wrote to on LinkedIn who didn't even mind me. And the people who I wrote to on LinkedIn that gave me really good tips. Like they got to a point I was just sharing my CV on LinkedIn, like, hey, can you check out my CV? Can you give me pointers?
I have done it so many times.
Yes. And then there are people that I was able to talk to on LinkedIn that I met at work now. There are people I've made connections with people even before I came to work with them. One unwritten rule I would say is like
networking.
It's networking. It gets you places that you never imagine.
And network with the right people, of course. Yeah. The networking, I've realized myself that it's also very important in this climate, because I've been lucky to have people just recommend some things to me just because I've been able to smile and say, okay, exactly. I'll just being present and people seeing your face. So, I mean, I agree with network. Is there any other thing?
Yeah, maybe I'll just make another point to networking. So, in some big companies, you go and then they have like Friday bars and social events. Maybe you might say, hey, I'm a Christian, I don't want to go to a Friday bar. I don't drink.
But say that again, I'm a Christian.
But like you don't even have to go there to drink. It's just being present. You just have to show your face.
And smile.
And smile. You never know. There are people who get promotions from these social events. Like sometimes we have offsites, you have this, you have like, oh, we're going to, after work, we just want to go, let's say, bowling, or we want to go, like there's some people that try to, like there's social events at work, just try to show up. All these things help you to build connections that last for a long time. Because the connection at work, like sitting in a meeting and talking to someone, there's no connection there. When we're done, we just walk out. But seeing somebody outside work and then you talk, there's so much you can talk about that the person just remembers you the next day.
My next question will be that, do you feel that you have, and I think I asked you earlier before this discussion, but did you feel that you have to kind of change some part of yourself, renegotiate who you are in order to integrate into the Danish workforce?
So there's always something interesting that happens with us when we come here. Our accents starts to change. Like for some reason, the way you talk just becomes different because you're interacting with like a white person. So it's like you want to sound more audible. You want to sound more relatable to the white one. So, or to foreign people, basically. And so your accent, you start picking up different accents. So you start feeling like, oh, why am I talking like this now? If I realize, and then you start doing some things, like you start dressing differently. But me personally, the first time I realized I was changing was when I talk to someone, I talk to a white person, and then I talk to someone and my accent changes and I realize, no, I don't have to lose myself. So yeah, there are parts of me that's changed. I've become more outgoing. I've become more, how do we put this? I take responsibility of my actions. So I don't hide. So if you want to be seen at work, you have to be more, hey, this is what I own. I own this. You become more able to speak your mind, like more direct. Instead of saying things around, you have to go straight to the point.
Yeah, and I think it also comes from our culture.
Yeah.
In our culture, you don't have to be so assertive and all of that. You have to be like meek and humble.
Yeah, but there has to be humble. But meek and humble, someone else is going to take your place.
Exactly.
In the like, you are doing the work.
You be humble. Somebody else
going to take your job. Yeah. So you have to be more assertive. So I've learned to be like, I've become more assertive. I've become more responsible. I own my actions. I own responsibility. If something goes wrong, yeah, it was me, but I know what I'm going to do to solve it. So those are the additions I've had to my personality. But when things change in it's physical things, like you start speaking with a different accent, maybe.
Yeah. So my final two questions will be, the first one will be that for anybody sitting in, let's say, in Accra or Lagos or let's say New York, trying to thinking about, okay, I also want to pursue education, whether in pharmacy or whatever it is in Denmark. What would you say to that person? Is it even worth it? Yeah.
It is worth it. It's changed my life for sure. So if you want to do that, pursue it. I've had people reach out to me on LinkedIn. Hey, I want to come study. Yes, go for it. Don't be like me and don't start looking too late. Know where you're moving to. Know what you're getting into. Understand the culture you're coming into. Prepare mentally for it. Look out for networking events. Look out for people of like groups that you can integrate into. That will help you to integrate into your society. Try to learn a language. But yeah, look into how is there funding for the course you're choosing? How do I get funding? Like practicalities like those. Where do I live? Accommodation? How far is it from the school I'm going to study? And there are a lot of practical things you can look into. But go for it and just be ready for what's going to come. If you want to come, just also do not be afraid to reach out to people and ask them what they think. You might think that, hey, he doesn't have the time to listen. But you write to someone, the person's going to tell you so much and give you such a wealth of knowledge that you didn't expect or you didn't think you needed.
So my final question, which I ask everybody who comes here, is if you could tell your younger self something, what would it be?
My younger self, like when I was 10 years old or
when you were younger. what will it be? Whether your teenage self or when you're in your 20s, what will it be?
I have to think about this.
Looking at your journey and what you have achieved so far. I mean, you like structure, you like to plan. What will it be?
Tell myself, don't be too hard on yourself. I'm being too hard on yourself. It works out. Like so stop being too hard on yourself. It's a plan. It's going to work. So just steps. Whatever happened, the mistake you made. Yeah, you made a mistake. But don't beat yourself up for it. Yeah, that'll be the best advice I can give myself. Like move on quickly. Forgive yourself quickly. It's not only about forgiving others. You have to forgive yourself too. Because for sure you make mistakes. And those mistakes are going to be the reason why you become the man you are in the next 10 years. Yeah.
Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure talking to you, and I hope somebody somewhere will find this very, very interesting and educative enough in pursuing any higher education that they choose to.
It's nice talking to you too.
Thank you so much for joining today's episode. To all the students, job seekers, and dreamers out there, we hope that you found this episode very insightful. If you can relate with this, please leave us a comment and tell us what you think. Also, if you have a story to share or you know someone who has a story to share, please send us an email and we will gladly share it. Until next time, this is Migrant Voices, where every journey tells a story.
Migrant Voices, where every journey tells a story.